To make you aware, this podcast will contain conversations around mental health and well-being and could include issues of a sensitive nature. This is a podcast from Torfaen Talks CIC.
So hello and welcome to another episode of the Torfaen Talks CIC podcast.
Hello everyone.
Been a while, hasn't it?
It's been a hot minute, as the youngsters say.
A hot minute. I think one thing we've noticed is every episode that we've done so far has been different from the last episode. Now, the last episode was talking about For Minds and Tidy Butt. One before that, Bereavement. And this one, Mumentum.
Yeah.
So very different episodes each one so far.
It just goes to show the variety of support and groups that are in Torfaen.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and they all have different types of support. Some are just especially for men and some are just especially for women. You know, some are for everyone. Some are just for people who are bereaved. Some are people with mental health. So it just shows the variety of support that's out there in Torfaen. And this group is no different because this group is for mums and mums who live in Torfaen.
And it kind of comes on the back of a project from BronAfon. The actual project started in 2019.
2019, it was the Helping Working Families project. So it was BronAfon's Helping Working Families that also then started the Mumentum.
That only started in January this year.
January this year.
Yeah. We don't want to give too much of the game away because we find more about the origins of the name and everything. It's brilliant.
How Mumentum was born.
Yeah. In a pub. Brilliant.
As all good stories start. They also tell us a little bit more about the work that they do. And I think that's what was lovely for me is that all of the ladies in the room had mostly been to an event to want to be involved in the organisation.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah. So it was really great that, you know, some of them had been there from the start in the January, but a lot of them had been to an event in March and got involved and had been there from the April.
Yeah.
So it was really lovely that a lot of the ladies or mums, I don't like to call them mums, but they are mums.
Yeah.
But I'll say ladies that were around the group and are on now the board for Mumentum are there because they'd been to an event and seen how wonderfully empowering it was for women.
And going back to the ladies now on the board, they're creating a CIC because at the end of this year they're losing their funding.
So if anyone listening to this podcast has had support with Helping Working Families and specifically the Mumentum project, then please, on our socials, on their socials, drop a comment, give them some feedback, as any little bit of support is really important to them, isn't it? To help them be setting up their CIC. So we'll leave you now to go and listen to the lovely Mumentum ladies, and we start the podcast by frightening them and asking them to do an icebreaker, and as everyone hates to do, introduce themselves.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Jenny and I am the chair of the board of directors for Mumentum, and I've been involved with Mumentum right from the beginning, really passionate about empowering mums across Torfaen.
To the next.
I'm Emma and I've been with Mumentum for 3 months.
Hi, I'm Victoria. I've been with Mumentum since April after the pilot event, and I was really inspired to sort of get on board and help other mums achieve their goals.
Hi, I'm Amy. I co-secretary, am I allowed to say that? And also I do the social media. I've been part of Mumentum for 3 months now, and it's just part of me giving back something to the community that wasn't there for when I had little children. It's something really important for mums to have.
I'm Jodie and I've been with Mumentum since about April too. I just really like the vision of Mumentum and really into the mental health of mums as well. I find it's really important to me.
Okay, hi, I'm Lane. I've been with Mumentum since April. I got involved because on a whim I saw an advert within an hour, went to it. I've had a lot of sort of issues with myself recently, the age thing, the perimenopause and everything, and I just like to replicate the feeling that I got when I walked into the room for other mothers.
My name's Susie, so I'm currently the Helping Working Families Coordinator for BronAfon, and it was through this role, working with volunteers, that we developed Mumentum, which is a co-produced programme for mums in Torfaen, really working with mums to support other mums and be the best that they can be.
So Jenny, tell us a little bit about the background of where this journey started.
I had a little boy last September, so September 23, and really struggled with postpartum anxiety. My little boy was my 6th pregnancy, but my first child, and had a really tough time all through pregnancy. And then when he came along, I had a really traumatic birth, and then when he came along, really struggled with anxiety. And it was after Christmas. Already I was starting to think about going back to work because I was desperate for some normality, and my solution was go back to work is what I do best, you know. It was in that kind of process of thinking about going back to work that I suddenly realised there wasn't very much support for me, wasn't very much support for other mums. Yes, I was trying my best, I was going to mum and baby groups, I was going to music groups for babies, you know, but that was really for the children. And I saw other mums and we had like kind of fleeting conversations, but there wasn't really that peer support network that I needed. In that process, I'd also became a volunteer for helping working families and joined Susie on her project and started getting really involved in some of the things that were going on. Again, starting to build, I suppose, my own peer support network through some of the other volunteers, and really felt that there needed to be something more. So I started doing research, thinking there must be something out there, I just don't know about it.
But it's really interesting what you say, because about when you think about mother and baby group, mother toddler groups, that they're really set up for connection, for the babies to connect with other babies, whereas the connection for mum is completely forgotten about, really, isn't it?
And it's something that we come across all the time. People say, oh, well, what's for dads, you know, or there's already so much for mums. But the reality is, especially in Torfaen, there is actually a lot of provision for dads out there.
Yeah. So when you did your research, you noticed there was
nothing for mums unless it was mum and, you know, it wasn't anything just for mums. Yeah, it was kind of thinking about this, thinking, oh, we need some sort of like a working mums network, and like I need something, because I was still very much in that mind frame that I wanted to go back to work, but I needed support to go back to work, and how could I learn about how to cope in work with a child?
So craving routine.
Yeah, all of that kind of stuff. At the same time, Susie said to us as helping working family volunteers, guys, what are we going to do for International Women's Day? We need to do something. And I was like, hang on, I've got this idea. It kind of really grew from there. So straight away I was like, working mums network sounds boring. That is not what we want it to be.
It's a bit of a mouthful as well. It doesn't go well on your merch and nothing like that.
Exactly, you know. And I was like, I'm not really feeling this.
You knew the idea, but what was it going to be called?
It was like that ethos was there. And so we very, very randomly sat in Wetherspoons and we were thinking of names, and we were going, don't like network, what can it be? And all of a sudden in my head I was like, right, well, what do we want this group, this thing to do? And for me it was about creating positive social change for mums. It was creating a safe space for mums to be inspired to make the changes they needed for themselves, and as a result of that, helping their families and their communities thrive. And so in my head I was like, right, well, we want to create this momentum with an O, you know, momentum of positive change. We want this like force, this driving force. And as I kept pondering on that word, momentum, I was like, oh, hang on,
if I stuck on that word for a reason.
If I change a letter in this word, all of a sudden we have what we see today, which is momentum. Yeah, I think that really does then capture what we're trying to do. It's very much focused on mums. It is a space for mums. It's, you know, not mum and what I was experiencing before. This is very much for mums, but it is also about driving change. It's about movement. It's about us doing something together, and that's where kind of the slogan of mums supporting mums has come from, through the momentum.
And again, it's momentum, isn't it? That is moving forward. Yeah. So absolutely fantastic.
What about then the current state of play with what you're doing, and what would you like the idea to be going forward as well?
I think we were really lucky. Well, I was really lucky with this idea that I was working with Susie on the Helping Working Families project, and she was able to provide that kind of seed funding for us to pilot this idea and see if it works. And in the March then, on International Women's Day, we did hold our launch event. We talk about it being dream to reality in 6 weeks, because that's what it was. There was only 5 or 6 of us involved at the time. And I remember saying to the team, look, even if only one person walks through the door, we're just going to make that one person feel so loved, so seen, so valued, you know, and then hopefully that one person will go away and tell other people at the next event, you know, we'll get some more. The reality was, I think we had 97 people come to that first event.
That was split over the sort of afternoon session and the evening, because we always try and make sure that we've got 2 sessions to really try and accommodate mums, because we have a lot of mums that are working, a little childcare is a barrier, so we sort of do a afternoon session, which is like a 12:30 to 2:30 to try and accommodate anybody who's in school, so they need to leave and then do the school pickup. And then we've got that 7 till 9 p.m. slot, because what a lot of our mums have said is it's easier to get somebody to watch their child for bed than it is to go and do a school pickup or help at tea time. Or we really tried to make sure that we had those two events. So there was 97 people over the two events that day.
Yeah, and for me especially, it just blew me away for a start.
Well, especially when your expectation was one person.
Well, exactly. You know,
97.
Set the bar low, isn't it?
And we got two people here today who are now like mementos, who came to that first event, and like Lane said in the beginning, gave them that spark to come back. And how amazing is that from that event we've inspired people to join our group to support other mums.
I think there's 18 of us now, isn't there?
Yeah, so we've got 18 mementors now. So again, from that first event, we didn't have this name Mementor, you know. But again, I was like, we don't want to call people volunteers. Volunteering is great, but we want mums, because all of our volunteers are mums. I want them to feel special. I want them to again have that kind of sense of purpose that sometimes we lose when we become mums, and motherhood can strip that away from us a little bit, you know.
Because you're just mum, and you lose your identity within all that, don't you? So it's really important again to still, I know we still talk about mums, but you're helping each other find you and be mum.
That's 100% why I joined, because other than work, mum, food shopper, house cleaner, everything else.
Every part
that
of
was
the
all
job
I
description of
all I was
mum.
doing, so I wanted something for myself.
Same with me, for my children now being teenagers, they don't rely on me as much as they used to. So it was like, well, what can I do? Now I can leave them home on their own.
Yeah, exactly. I think all that through motherhood then, I think you get lost a little bit. I remember talking to my one friend, and she's got 4 children, and I remember talking to her, and she was literally just talking to me like I was watching CBeebies. I was like, I'm changing this up to adult chat now because I can't cope. I don't know what you're saying to me. And I think she needed it. It was like, just to burst that bubble, because she was so used to talk to children that she forgot what it was like to talk to adults. It is difficult.
And we see that with mums that come into the event. I think there are a lot of mums who've not experienced that level of interest in them, or, you know, that value that we are aiming to create. And it can cause quite a tension in people, because people are a little bit like, oh, hang on, or this is uncomfortable, or I don't know how to not be everything else that I am on a daily basis. And it is really difficult for some people and some mums to strip that away and to just be.
I think for some mums it's like their child is a safety blanket. It brings them confidence, because you have a role, you have a purpose, you know what you're doing, whereas you step out of that arena where you're walking into a room with other mums but without your child, and you almost feel a little bit lost. And it's, you know, what's my purpose now? What do? I don't need to be making sure they're okay, or keeping an eye on them, or making sure they've got food, they've got their drinks, they've got their snacks, and keeping them entertained.
Because attention is completely on them, isn't it? So even interaction is, they're talking about the child, or, you know, are they sleeping well, and this, that, the other. There is no attention on you.
Thing, like baby clubs, is great because you've got that child to help you bond with other people, to say, you know, how's the sleep routine, how's this, whereas when you're on your own, it's almost like you're vulnerable, and it is all about you. But we want to create that sort of safe environment where that's okay and that's good, and we want people to celebrate their successes, and we want people to feel like they can be the best version of themselves, and hopefully in that community, in this space, they can do that.
And I think that's what's fantastic about it, from what we've seen on social media, and I know we've been to some of your events as well, is seeing that it's okay. It's okay to be mum and be vulnerable and be overwhelmed, but it's also okay to be you and not mum right now. We all have different sides to us, don't we? So that's just another side to you. And I think that's what's been really great for me to see, as someone who is child-free. I know some people use the word childless, but I'm child-free, is watching that connection for you guys, because I see so many mums who are so scared to reach out and are so lonely, but I don't want to talk about that because that makes me a bad mum. So it's like, so they can tell me, because I'm a bad mum already, because I'm not a mum. So they'll tell me that, but it's kind of like,
I think that's one of the biggest things that I pulled from Mumentum on the first time that I went, was I sort of turned up for a networking event through work, and I turned up thinking, oh, okay, I don't know what to expect, and having everybody's name called out, and because it was Mother's Day as well, it was close to Mother's Day, we had a little chocolate and a little card, and it was like, actually these people are here for me. And sort of, you see a lot on Facebook of people pretending to be fantastic mothers, and you know, they've got everything under control and they've got a handle on everything, but actually sat there talking to a few people, it was just like, we're just normal regular mums that are all struggling in different areas, but we can all sort of give each other advice and pull each other through. And I've got a 16-year-old son and 8-year-old twins that got some people that can give me advice on teenage years, and I've got some people that can give me advice on having 2 at a time and having little ones. So, and then I feel like I could almost give back then, and sort of my advice, it's not advice, it's experience, but it is going to help someone else to get to where I now am going through this process sort of thing. So,
and I think all this really links to the sort of vision statement that's been created. We created Mumentum because we believe in a world where mums are seen, valued, heard and empowered, where appropriate support is regularly available and mums are given the space to share and develop ideas that bring life to the world around them. We believe in a world where mums supporting mums is an everyday occurrence, not just a one-off quest, and where the connectiveness of a strong peer network becomes a safety net for mums to dream, to try, to challenge, to refocus, to reflect and to succeed. A world where mums can be open, honest, vulnerable and true. A world where mums can come as they are, sleepless night bags under their eyes, exhausted from yet another argument with their teenager, with brain fog from the overwhelming amount of laundry still left to do, and with the joy of their child achieving something new. Whoever you are and whatever you're going through, here at Mumentum, we want to be and create a safe space for you.
Oh, I think that deserves the right. Oh, is that... God, that touched me.
I know, it makes me emotional every time.
Yeah. Like I said, I think all mums would feel just a little, relate to a little bit of every bit of that.
Yeah.
That was absolutely lovely.
And I think for us then, like I said, I had very low expectations of one person maybe coming to that first event. And things have snowballed so quickly, which has been incredible, but it's also been really, really tough. Yeah. Because it just shows like the magnitude of the need. Not just in Torfaen, you know, through helping working families. Currently, we are restricted to working with mums in Torfaen, but we're having people reach out to us from Cardiff, from Newport, from the Rhondda Valleys, from Blaenau Gwent, and even now starting to, like I've had communication now with people in Hereford, you know, we're even breaking out of Wales, you know, and I think that's just a really hard thing to carry sometimes, like, sorry, I'm not going to get emotional. But
you're in a room with a counsellor, darling, I'm going to make you cry.
You know, but it's why I think it's been, especially for me, you know, because this is a very personal thing for me, and I know it's personal for everybody, but essentially it's my baby, you know, it's the thing that, you know, to think that something that I came up with is now having so much impact is incredible. And
but you felt that need, and you were the person to then speak about it, and you were heard. I think mums speak about it all the time, but they're never heard.
Yeah.
You were in a position where actually you were heard. Yeah. That is sadly quite rare to be listened to and to be heard and valued. To think, yeah, okay, let's crack on, let's do this.
Yeah.
And by doing that, I know you're going as far as Hereford to the border, darling, but I think this is a worldwide thing.
Yeah.
And that's mums and mums. Mums and mums, and they feel, and the need is there.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't want to overwhelm you with worldwide.
No, I know. Small steps,
but the need is there, and I think it's a mixed feeling, isn't it? Of wow, but also it's sad that this is needed.
And it made us, I think, as a whole team of Mementors, realise that actually the events. You know, we planned quarterly events. The events aren't enough. Yeah. And I talk about now that the events are very much about us having wide impact and reaching lots of people. But what we've had to develop is a series of what we call hangouts, because people are craving connection. They can't wait 3 months for another event. So we are now working as a team. It is exhausting.
It's been a busy summer.
It's been a busy summer, but trying to get those hangouts, which is where I see us creating deep connection. Yeah. So we've got our wide-reaching impact through the events, but then our deep connection through the hangouts. And you know, sometimes that can be tough because it's the hangouts where maybe only 1 or 2 people turn up, but actually what we can do for those 1 or 2 people is life-changing.
We've had someone travel quite far as well to come to have breakfast with us as well, wasn't it? And that was just really nice.
It speaks volumes.
She was quiet, but she needed to be there. She wanted to be, and she made sure she got
smiling
there.
the whole time she was there.
Yeah, she was so
but
happy.
we're connecting as well now. I mean, like I said, I didn't know any of these people when I walked into that room, and I can genuinely say I count you as friends now. Like, we've done things on a social side. We've been to the cinema together.
I think it's sad honestly for me because like Jenny's my sister, and hearing that, heard that. Like I didn't know she felt like that. My little boy's only a couple of months older than her, so knowing she felt like that's actually quite emotional.
But I think that's what's important, is recognising how much emotions we do just keep in and think, oh, it'll pass, it'll go, and then it's been 3 years now and I still feel like this.
Yeah.
But Jenny, what you were saying around in, like, connection, and it's really lovely to hear you guys are all connecting with each other. It's one of the 5 ways of wellbeing is to connect, and we're making out it's so important for our children to connect with other children and for them to do this and forget their sensory and get all their cognitive things. We're forgetting our own.
I was isolated for a year. I didn't leave my house because of severe anxiety and PTSD. But now, if one of us wants to do something, we post in the group and say, does anyone want to do this with us? And there's always someone that wants to do it. Yeah.
Because even when you go to the baby groups, it's been a long time since I've been to baby groups, so it might be different. But it was always, and doctor's appointments and that, it was always, so how's mum?
Yeah.
How's mum doing? And it's like, I have got a name.
And
nobody uses it anymore. I'm just like, Daniel's mum.
Till they're 16, as their children are constantly monitored by GPs and hospitals, Specsavers and things like that. But what are we having? We don't get health checks like that.
And again, if you said it, who would listen? And I think that's what's so important about this, is you can come here, that people can talk and sit and talk and just sit and just listen. Some people are introverted mums, and that's okay as well, but it's just having that bit of company to be around the same people as yourselves and go through exactly the same thing. So it's really lovely to hear that the connection and is out there for people. I think that's what's really important about it. It really is.
So what about the future? What does the future hold?
So as I said earlier, we were really lucky to have that seed funding through the big lottery, through the Helping Working Families project, but that unfortunately comes to an end in December. It's been great. It's allowed us to hold our first 4 events, of which we've already run 2 and we've got 2 more to come, and to do those first hangouts. As we've identified, the need is so great, and some of our consultation results have been harrowing. 91% of mums who completed our last consultation said that they had felt lonely and isolated, and I think that's huge. It's a huge figure. As a group of Mementals, we are extremely passionate about continuing Momentum. We don't want it just to be another one of those great ideas that comes along and then disappears in a flash of a pan, So we have now set up a board of directors, and we are currently going through the process to register as a community interest company. We've already started speaking to potential funders, quite a lot of interest moving forward, which is really exciting. It's also a lot of work.
It is. And it's a lot of paperwork.
It's a lot of paperwork. And again, I think the responsibility becomes a little bit heavier. We haven't got that safety net of BronAfon, the Helping Working Families project. All of a sudden we've got to make sure we've got our own policies, we've got our own procedures in place. We are doing things professionally, because as we've said, mums deserve it. Mums deserve our best. We don't want to just do this on a whim. We do lots of crazy things, but we don't want it just to be something that is not consistent, because mums, as I keep saying, mums deserve that consistency. They deserve to know that they are seen and heard and valued, that they know that there is a place they can come to, whether that's through a message on social media or whether that's a physical space that they can come to. So, we don't take that lightly, and I think, what we're trying to do now over these last few months of that safety net of the Helping Working Families project and that lottery funding is to set really good foundations for us moving forward, trying to get everything in place that we might need.
Still going to look quite similar?
So the whole ethos of Momentum will continue. The Helping Working Families project has allowed us to pilot it, to show that there's need, to gather all those consultation results, to pull up that momentum of people coming along, to prove that this is so needed, to give us the evidence to help us proceed looking for additional funding, to be able to set up as a board, a CIC, but the vision is very much the same. So we, it will still be looking at events, it will still be looking at hangouts, but the sort of 5-year plan, we are talking further into the future, is we would love to be able to explore out of Torfaen. We, hit in other areas. We would love to be able to sort of have it where maybe we have like a funding stream arm where we can offer people small grants themselves to better themselves, or if there's a course that they really want to do and they just can't fund it, something that maybe they could apply to the Momentum, and if it shows that it's about progression for themselves, it's something that they could maybe access. So there's lots of ideas out there, but obviously it's very early days. I think it's hard to remember that this only started as an idea in January, and we're now in August.
Yeah.
You know, there's 8 months, and already we're becoming a CIC, and you know we've got our board, and we've got we got so many amazing mementos around the table with so much experience, so much passion and determination that it can't not be successful. It's amazing to see their journey and to see their confidence have grown over the last few months as well. And you know, if you look back a few months ago, it's a completely different group. You know, we're really excited, and people are just so determined to take this to the next level. What we are looking at now to really strengthen the group is looking at additional training. So lots of people in the group are sort of have got experience with sort of mental health or maybe counselling. There's lots of experience in the room, but we want to get everybody at a certain level. So next month now in September, we're all actually completing our mental health first aid qualification, and again that'll be with help from Helping Working Families to help that go in place. And we'll be looking at additional training that we can do up until December, that's really going to strengthen this group. Look at things like DBS checks, and to really get us on a great platform so that come January, when the guys are on their own, they've got all the foundations and they can just fly. And yeah, that's sort of the plan. But I think there's at every event, at every moment, there's another idea of how we're going to take it further again. It's a giant snowball. We're all very good at sort of reflective practice, and you know, at every event we're looking at what went well, what could be improved, and how do we take this to the next level? How do we continue to surprise people? Because I think that's the great thing we've done all the way through every event. There's been something different that has surprised people, put that smile on their face. Like Victoria said,
ladies like to shock, I can tell. We need to shock and we need to show.
We need that wow factor, because that's something that people are going to remember, that's going to bring them back. But also the wow factor to allow people to feel I am valued, people do care, I have got potential, and really give them that self-worth. Like Victoria said, at that first session we got everybody up. Basically we said that there was, you know, people had been nominated to celebrate just being an amazing mum, and they were given Mother's Day cards and a bar of chocolate, but actually what had happened is every single person who was in that room got called up, so there wasn't one person sat on that floor. Everybody was valued and everybody felt special. It was lovely, and to see everybody stood at the front with their cards and their bar of chocolate, it was lovely. Event after, we may have let some people down actually, because we told them it was going to be something similar to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and there was a surprise come in, but it wasn't chocolate this time.
It's already been the worst version of that, so you're really fine.
So people there wasn't chocolate at the end of it, but it was a golden ticket which was strapped underneath their seats, and in that was a lovely key ring, which I haven't actually, mine broke, so apparently I don't make but it says something around deserving, this is your
permission to do something for you.
Which for me, I've had loads of counselling, and that was something I really realised is I have permission for myself. So when I seen that, that's what encouraged me to join Mumentum, is actually that theory for that is my theory. So it's like we have something in common.
I think that is lovely though, isn't it? I think from all of your events really, it always seems so fresh, your ideas. I think sometimes you can see ideas and it's kind of like, that sort of come from that. And I know you sort of said about the Willy Wonka thing. Your ideas and your events are so fresh. And I think that's what's great about it, is that kind of, and everyone wants to know what it is.
I think it's a good job that this is audio and not video, because around the room there's lots of surprises as what's happening at our next event. So again, there will be another additional surprise thrown in. Yeah, making people feel special.
Yeah, I want to put it out there that these surprises are not just like, we'll just find something. It is well thought out of like what is going to make somebody feel special, what is somebody going to take away from it. It's not just, we'll just find on Google and put it out there. It is very much it's how is this going to make that person feel, and what can they take away with them.
And I think that's so important, even just for someone who's not been to the events. You can sort of tell how long your ideas take. I know some of them probably just snap like that, but they are so well thought out ideas. But your events that you've had so far, can you tell us a little bit more about those? I know you mentioned the Willy Wonka with the golden ticket.
Yeah, so it wasn't a Willy Wonka event. It was just we happened to compare a golden ticket to Willy Wonka.
I have a lot to copyright from Roll
Yeah, left people thinking they were having chocolate and it really wasn't. It was a keyring. Please don't try and eat it. But yeah, so the first event was very much about trying to just get people to understand the Mumentum ethos, where's it come from, helping people to feel that you're more than just a mum. So at every event we do, we have sort of a topic and then we have a theme. So the topic was about sort of inspirational mums, how being a mum doesn't stop you achieving what you need to achieve or you want to achieve. The sort of theme then was afternoon tea. The last event then was, the topic was all around mental health and well-being and looking at mums' mental health, and the theme was summer picnic. And this one now is going to be all about mums helping them to find their spark. That's the topic, and the theme this time is glam.
And I know you mentioned that the event there is this Find Your Spark event, and I know what is it? And I know it's a very individual thing, I think. It's a little bit like when you say X Factor, when someone's got the X Factor, it's very individual to you. So can you share what is Spark?
It's really motivation, isn't it? Like, what makes you happy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
something that gives you that kick, that boost, that the passion, the drive to continue with something, something you feel that you're good at and you enjoy, and like Emma said, brings you that happiness.
And that it doesn't have to be the same for everybody. You can have your own individual thing, whether it's doing a craft or flying a plane. It's an internal thing, isn't it? And as long as you're comfortable with that, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It belongs to you.
Yes, and I think that is important. Is not really caring what other people think. It's enjoying what you enjoy. So what brings you happiness? What brings you joy? What gives you that drive and that momentum, really, I should be saying. So that drive, to go, I've got that passion, just making you feel like yourself again.
And I think a lot of people, they know what they want to do, or they know what would make them happy, but they don't know how to get there.
Yes.
So you need to have like somebody giving you that little bit of a nudge in the right direction, or sort of helping you find where your journey is to achieve that final sort of happiness at the end of it.
Yes, and I think we've seen, so at each event we do a consultation in preparation for the next event. So the consultation we had at our summer picnic was all about finding your spark. I don't mean this to come across probably how it's going to come across, but a lot of people said their spark is their children. And as we've already shared today, that's very much because as mums sometimes we only see ourselves in the context of our children, and we really want this next event. It is going to be a little bit different to what we've done before, because we wanted mums to be able to step outside that comfort zone, to be able to experience something new, to be able to maybe explore their style or try a different craft, or to be silly and have some fun. We really want to help people to understand that being mum is amazing. It is just an absolute honour and privilege, and we all love our children, but we can also be us. There was an us before we became mums, and
finding it before you are no longer a fully hands-on mum. My children are 16 and 25. You get to a point and you're just like, I don't know who I am anymore. And that's where I was, and it's why I started coming to the event and allowing myself to be me again and find out who that is. Sort of, we're all getting to the point I can sort of give you tips on. Don't get to nearly 50 and think, I don't know what to do with myself because I'm not mumming.
Links really well, with the consultation results that we've had. Like Jenny said, at every event we consult ready for the next topic, and we asked, do you have a spark, and if so, what is your spark? Up there very high was my children and my family, but 44% of our mums are saying that they're unsure or don't feel like they do have a spark. That's quite high for people to think that they don't have it.
It's almost half, really, isn't it, of the people who attended.
And we only have 1% of people that have said that they feel that they're achieving everything they want to in life. 1%. And then again, 91% of our mums feel that they need to make a change in their lives, but only 30% of our mums feel that they have the power, support, ability and information to make those changes.
I thought it was a really interesting question as well, Sue, because I know you shared that 91%, and I thought there's such a negative thing with need to change, not to want to change, but what do they feel they need to change? Did they explore that a little bit, or is that something that is going to be explored?
That will hopefully now be explored at our next event, and the hope is that people will go away with that thought of what is their spark, or what is something they're interested in, or something they want to get that spark in. What's holding them back? Those services around the room and all the partner agencies and the other professionals that we're bringing in, is there anything that someone can offer to help them get there? A big thing about finding your spark is about having that self-worth and knowing that you have the right, you have permission to go and find that spark. And hopefully people will leave that room with an idea of what they want to do, if there are any changes, what are those changes are, and how they can do it. We want people to feel armed and ready to go if they're ready to make those changes.
And again, to feel satisfied with what they've achieved, like well done to that person who feels that 1% persons to feel that satisfied. But what's happening with the rest of the people who are not feeling that satisfied?
And at whatever stage you're at, even if you're just exploring that self-worth, that's amazing. You don't have to be all the way up there, achieving, doing really well, feeling that you're at the top of your game to have that satisfaction. Just working towards it is enough, and that's
and
good.
it is a journey. It is a journey, I
and
think.
not being massive, is it? Like the small thing. With social media now, you see the reels and you see TikTok, and everybody's got it together. Everybody's homes are that sort of perfect grey colour scheme, and you've got the traditional mums now that, like, my children wanted cereal, so I made it from scratch. So you automatically you're like, oh,
do they exist?
My little girl this morning she's 4, she made her own cereal. She was like Matilda. I was like, I am proud of you. She's there, it's going on the floor, she's throwing it everywhere, but she did it.
But yeah, it's
rolls
just
off
nothing
heavy this
massive.
podcast.
The thing is, self-development never stops, does it? No. It's an ongoing thing until we're gone.
And I think it is thing, because I'm thinking about when going to see the Barbie film last year, and I thought it was a really important message of recognising this is everyone's first time here on this earth. When we're children, we think our mums have been here before and they know everything. Well, actually, it's their first time being here as well.
I think that's actually a point as well of momentum and where it's going to go. Obviously, we've got a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, whatever. But eventually, I would like to see this change a woman's thought process right from little. If you're changing yourself as a mother, you're then projecting that onto your child, which means when they are a mum themselves or a grown-up themselves, they can project that on. So let's talk like, eons in the future, that actually you've changed the world and you've changed the thought path of every
You've already
woman.
seen that happen because you sat next to one.
World domination's been talked about again.
Yes, the world domination.
My children, who were teenagers, as I said, they've actually said to Susie at the hangouts and stuff, like, it's changed my mental health and it's changed how generally I leave the house and I get so excited to leave and do things now.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's amazing to hear.
This
And I
is-
know
this-
that, like you said,
this
the
is my
journey
spark.
you've been on.
I love doing all of this.
Because like you said, you weren't really leaving the house.
No, I wasn't. I
for
didn't leave
years,
at all. I would get really severe anxiety attacks just trying to leave the house. And going to the event was one of my major things to do first time on my own. But I did take a friend. But do you know what? It was when everybody sung Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
We all know it.
I literally said out loud, you can tell a bunch of mums just sung that, and it felt so wholesome, and I was like, this is what I want to be part of.
Yes. Oh, that's so
I'm going to have to message Deb now and tell her. She's changed the world.
So it's actually the spark is happiness and joy, it's drive, it's momentum, but again it's singing with a bunch of other mums that you just think yes. Go around the room. Don't all look scared now. You've been talking for ages already. You're fine. Basically, what one piece of advice would you say helped you find your spark?
Just going for it.
Just going for it.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it.
Yeah. If you want to do something, just do it before you regret it.
Okay.
Take it till you make it.
I think of that sort of stairs analogy as well. If you've seen when they like climb up the stairs and they fall off and then they get back on, and thinking about the fact that at any point you can fall off in that journey you're going on, but it's okay because you'll just get back up again, and it's gonna take a few attempts and it's gonna take time for you to build your confidence and find the path that you want to lead on. But that's okay. It is not going to be a quick fix. It's something that you need to invest in and something that you want to spend time in to achieve that goal, achieve
You have
that
to really
spark.
want it.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping you except you.
I think that's a huge piece of advice, really, is recognising only you, stopping you from doing these things. And I think sometimes it's not you, it's the anxious you. It's the anxious you that's fearful of what's behind that door and what's going on in these groups or wherever it might be.
Once
really.
you start opening those doors, so many opportunities start coming your way.
Yeah.
And I think you have to remember that everybody else has had those anxious moments, even though they might look as if they're confident and amazing and got it all together. Everybody has had those stumbling blocks, so they're not looking at you thinking what you're doing wrong, they're still looking for themselves at the same time.
And I think that's what I was going to say. Like, for me, it was having the ability, and it took me a long time to get there, to stop listening to the lies of comparison. And they are lies. They are lies that my own brain creates.
The thief of
you know.
joy.
You know, it is, you know, and I think that is really important, you know, it can be very difficult, I think, you know, and we appreciate that at our events. It can be very difficult to walk in the room, suddenly think, oh, I'm not dressed the right way, or I'm not this, I'm not that, you know, and you look at everybody else, don't you, and then you kind of internalise that. And I think it is a process, it is a journey, and it takes a lot of practice of, you know, positive self-talk, but to stop listening to the lies that the world creates, but also our own brains can create, especially in terms of comparison.
I like the fact that you said practice as well, because practice, even to walk outside the door, you got to keep doing it until you can do it.
Yeah.
And every time it gets a little bit easier.
Yeah.
It does, and I think sometimes it is a case of just keep trying, isn't it? You know, and you'll always get a little bit further every time that you do it, and the time that you don't let that fear win feels like a great spark. From someone who's had anxiety before, I completely understand where you come from. It is like I couldn't leave the house either, so I sometimes used to just sit with the door open and just think, okay, this is a start.
I was told to put my coat on and get ready, and then just go sit back down, and it's just even trying to put your one foot out, you know, it's just practice.
And celebrate those little wins, isn't it? Celebrate the little wins.
Absolutely. So Spark, like we said, is so different to everybody. Thank you for all your advice, guys. So let's try some more of these mocktails, and we will see you in the future. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Cheers, everyone.
Find us on social media at Torfaen Talks CIC. For more details about what we do, look on our website, torfaentalkscic.org.uk. So it's so lovely to hear that back, actually, listening to the ladies talk about the project of Mumentum with such passion. To hear the origin stories of how it was born.
In Wetherspoons. Yeah. As our most brilliant ideas.
They are. The work that they do and how now it's going to carry forward. You know, no doubt that it will carry forward, because it sounds like there's a lot of interest in carrying it forward. But really just the incredible work that they do.
Yeah.
For empowering mums. And I think it was really lovely to listen back, for them to talk through their experiences, either not being able to find a group unless it said mum and
yes, that's right.
Or, you know, just to feel empowered or valued. Such a little thing.
Do you know one thing I noticed? I don't know if you got this, but listening to them, as we were talking at the very start, when we threw the introduce yourself, they were like, but then, did you notice, I'd say there was a change about halfway through where they were just going for it. They were just talking, and it was a joy to behold, really.
Yeah, and I think, you know, they were saying about how for Mumentum is set up to empower women and to have that connection for them, for mums to have connection. But yeah, it did open up in the room itself that it was really important for them to have connection, to talk about their project and reflect on it, really, of how well it's done and how it will carry on going. Because we were supposed to go to the Finding Your Spark event.
We were, but there was a bit of a problem on that morning.
I found my own spark, quite literally.
Yes, scary. So that was scary.
It was scary. Yeah. So on the morning that we were supposed to go, my hairdryer
just blew up. That sounds really dramatic, but it did. It blew up. And
it blew up.
There are scorch marks
on the floor. Yeah. So I was very shook up by it, I have to admit. Yeah, so I found my spark that day. Yep. But also the mums who attended the event did. So I've looked at the socials of Mumentum since that. Yeah, just through the power of connection. And they did it over 2 sessions, the Finding Your Spark event. Of 67 mums attended.
Wow, that's impressive.
Isn't that? Yeah, it's amazing. 67 mums attended, and 52% of them said that their mood had increased just by going to that event for an hour or two.
Using my magic of mathematics, that's over half of one. You're talking over 30 ladies who've found those sessions to be empowering.
Yeah, just to have lifted their mood in that moment, you know. So it goes to show that every single event that they do is always slightly different.
Yes.
And as I say in the interview when we were talking to the mums, is their ideas are so fresh and exciting. You know, I look forward to seeing what their events are.
Even though the Willy Wonka one and the chocolate was a bit like
but
pure
enough,
enough, first of all.
Ticket, so
it was a golden ticket and he was fine. And then obviously the other one where the keyring, you have the golden ticket to get the keyring. And then obviously with Find Your Spark, they had the mocktails, which we did try, and they were lovely.
Yeah, and they all had, you know, with the mocktails, they were affirmations.
Yes, that's right.
To help build the positivity to being a mum and to recognise you're not just mum.
Just mum, yeah.
You know,
that's right,
helping them, all ladies, find their identities again. Yeah. You know, to feel valued, to recognise their self-worth, to feel that confidence again, because it's hard.
Oh, absolutely.
It's hard to be a mum, and I know we are both talking from a place of we have no understanding of it, but the slight empathy that we can have for that situation, we say slight just because of the lack of understanding of being a mum, is still recognising we know how hard that is.
Oh, absolutely. And
from looking from the outset of how hard that must be to be a mum.
Because as I think they mentioned about it in that chat that we had about there were only groups for mum and you were going into a group because of your child and
mum and baby daughter,
groups.
It's always
it's never just about them as a person. And I think that's what this organisation will do is give women an identity, not just being mam or mum. So I think it's just brilliant. What are you laughing at?
The Pontypridd coming out with that, isn't it?
Oh, just a mam. You know,
mam.
Do you know, I really don't think Mumentum wouldn't have worked, to be fair. Mumentum.
Yeah,
no. Mumentum. I think how Mumentum works, how the process of that name.
So clever.
That was clever.
Very clever.
You can see the thought process thinking, so how do we start pushing things forward? Momentum. Momentum. Oh, yeah.
And I think that's the great part about it is, you know, the ladies coming together, sitting and just bouncing ideas off each other.
Oh, absolutely.
And it clicks.
Yes, it did, yeah.
You could really tell that when we were in the room when we were talking.
Definitely.
So if you have been supported by helping working families, or if you've been to an event with Mumentum, please get in touch. You can get in touch with us so we can feed it back to the ladies at Mumentum, or get in touch with them on their socials. They need that feedback.
They do, yeah.
They really do need that support, guys, just to help them get funding, to get started, because they're out on their own now.
Yeah.
They're a little bit like, you know, when your child goes on this bike without the stabilisers. You know, BronAfon has been the stabilisers for them.
Yeah.
It's now time for them to be without the stabilisers. So if you can support them in any way, please get in touch with us or with them directly. Just give them that little bit of feedback, because I'm sure it is muchly appreciated.
I think just thinking ahead as well, they talked about a 5-year and a 10-year plan.
Yeah.
And basically, I think they're going to be taking over the world.
I think so, because from what they were saying, they were getting a lot of interest from mums
outside
everywhere,
of this area,
not even just in Gwent. It was further afield again.
I think
so
it's going to be an interesting...
Global domination's coming.
And it's an interesting...
And it started in Wetherspoons in Cambran, guys.
Who'd have thought that? Well, who would have thought that? So that is it for this episode then.
That's it for this episode. Thank you for listening, everyone.
And if you do want to get in touch with us, of course, on our socials, on Facebook, on Insta, on TikTok, and on our website at Torfaen Talks CIC.org.uk.
If you'd like to be involved in the podcast, please message or voice note on WhatsApp. Our number is 07851 138 610. This is a podcast from Torfaen Talks CIC.